France 24's Bénédicte Paviot joins me now from outside Parliament in London. Bénédicte, the King's role, of course, very ceremonial, but talk us through the ceremony, how it went, and what was in the speech.
Well, indeed, as the political crisis unfolds in Downing Street, meanwhile, the government had planned for the King to come to Parliament to open it in its official, big, lavish ceremony, and that is indeed what happened. Now, what was in it, and therefore that speech, I should underline, is indeed written by the government of the day, so Keir Starmer's government. The government warned of, quote, a dangerous and volatile world, and added that economic security depends on raising living standards in every part of the United Kingdom. And of course, the cost of living, particularly since the beginning of the war in Iran at the end of February, has been a real issue. Like many other countries, rising prices of oil, of gas, fertilizer, amongst other things, food, and many other products. So ongoing rises there and shortages possibly to come. On the government's agenda are infrastructure development, also plans for legislation to reform the police, to improve the National Health Service, the NHS, and also to improve the criminal justice system. Also, interestingly, a bill to strengthen ties with the EU. But we didn't hear anything new on that front, so it's very much the Prime Minister's wish list of a rapprochement, a closer collaboration with the European Union. But, and it's a big but, of course, we don't know if this government is going to survive for very long, and if it does survive, for how long, so how much of this legislation it can actually get through.
Well, indeed, that really is the question, is this legislation likely to be passed, and how do you see this crisis being resolved?
Well, I can't answer the first part of your question because we simply don't know how long Keir Starmer will remain Prime Minister. As you mentioned in your introduction, over 80 MPs have actually signed a petition to tell him to resign. But what we don't have is a clear procedure, a clear numbers in Parliament who are saying that formally and triggering a leadership election. So we have West Streeting, and this is the problem, is that the King's speech, he's done what he has been asked to do, totally in his role, will go back to Buckingham Palace. Meanwhile, as the Prime Minister goes back to Downing Street, this speech is overshadowed. Overshadowed by what? By a cup of coffee that we understand was shared over less than 17 minutes before the speech in Downing Street, or as it's now being called, the bunker, where the Prime Minister met his health secretary and potential, perhaps, future rival. We don't know what the two men said, and it would be really against all kinds of convention for West Streeting himself, he made it known, or his allies, that they would not be saying what was discussed and what came out of it. There are rumours that West Streeting is preparing to resign later today, but that is not confirmed. Meanwhile, the other problem is that another contender who's very popular in the Labour Party, or so-called King of the North, Andy Burnham, who came to London yesterday and who I understand had a pre-planned meeting with other people and other mayors of other towns to go to Downing Street today, he is not a member of Parliament. So he couldn't, if he were to win an election, a by-election I should say, he doesn't have a seat where he could contend for the post of being Prime Minister, leader first of the party and then Prime Minister. So a real messy, unpredictable, uncharted territory situation.
Bénédicte, thank you so much for that. That's France 24's London correspondent, Bénédicte Paviot.